to some, obviously while you were sitting here before we started, I was listening to some Rogan, and I'm not going to lie, I've been listening to some pretty deep thinking things today, Curtis. Maybe it's fitting, the fact that we're talking here, because I know that you're someone that, I always say, it looks like you're in deep thought.
I'm not. I never am.
Yeah. I always tell people that there's something about your cadence, your speaking cadence. It's not common amongst people in our generation, at least our age gap. Where do you feel like you learn, unless it's natural to you, that's totally fine. But why do you think that is? You speak in a very calm, chill tone, not super fast. I'm someone that's very jittery. I speak fast, and I can't help it. I try to work on that. But where do you think that comes from?
I think I'm just a very monotone person. I try to be funny. I don't know if I succeed all the time, but like I
definitely do.
I feel like when I make people laugh the most, it's when I'm just like saying something like ridiculous in like a very monotone way, and it's not. I guess it's not entirely on purpose, though. I have realized like the comedic effect of that. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's just always been how I talked. I can't really recall anything like pushing me towards that in any way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. You obviously are friends of a mutual person I used to work with. Shout out to David if you're watching or listening in this case. I know he definitely probably is.
He probably will be.
And then he'll probably stop listening after 10 minutes. Like most people do. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how when I first met you, you gave me, like, you guys talk the same way. Mm-hmm. It's actually so crazy. You guys, so I wish I've been in the same room as the both of you at the same time. Must just be such a nice chill. I don't know.
So you're not the only person that said that.
Yeah.
Where me and David specifically we kind of talk the same.
Yeah.
At the rec, but like we're not always together, so it's something that people have to like piece together on their own. Like, oh, these guys talk exactly the same.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like when me and David are together, we butt heads quite a lot, which is fine, but because like it like nothing we ever argue about actually matters. But we butt heads a lot, which I feel like a lot of people don't expect. But also, to add on to that, every member of that friend group that me and David are a part of, we all talk the same, I think. At least in some cases.
Oh, that must be such a relaxing place to be. Everyone's just talking so calmly.
I think it depends on the vibe. It'll either be a very chill environment or a very hectic environment.
Right.
You know?
When it comes to eating, are you a slow eater?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
That was something I always used to worry about. Like,
really?
When I'm like eating with people, I'm like, am I eating too slow? Because I don't know. I don't really think about it now, but like, yes, I think so.
What do you think? I can't believe we've been talking about this. What do you think is the appropriate amount of chews per scoop of food that someone should take? Because I don't even think I know the answer to this.
I don't think I know the answer either. I mean, that's not something that I've ever thought about before.
Me neither. I told you, Curtis. Today I've just been thinking about a lot of things. The future of the world.
Right.
I don't know. Is there any things that you're specifically, I can't even speak today, specifically worried about when it comes to anything in your lifetime? Or if you were to have kids, like their lifetime, that you're kind of worried about? Obviously, there's a lot of things, but if you were to point out anything.
The biggest, or not the biggest thing for me, but I mean, I think a lot of the things that I worry about, I feel like will, in time, be sorted out.
You think so?
I do, because, I mean, a lot of the things that I worry about, to speak, I mean, broadly, is just like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like not minorities, but like, smaller groups of people, like less fortunate groups of people.
I got you.
Like,
Yeah.
a lot of you go online and you see a lot of people being harsh towards people that aren't like them.
The less fortunate?
The less fortunate, or just those with different life experiences.
I got you.
And I think that's kind of like peaking now, where everybody's on social media, especially like older people who hold very like old-fashioned values and ideas about people. But our generation, for the most part, and even people younger than us, seem to have a lot more empathy towards people different than them. So for like those issues that I worry about, I think they'll eventually be worked out.
What's something you're most looking forward to when it comes to just something you're looking forward to in your lifetime, just in general?
Looking forward to?
Because I know a lot of people they kind of fall into the trap that this is our prime, quote unquote, and they think that these are the glory days, and that being an adult just is practically, not that they say this, but you can just tell when you talk to people that love going out, who are in college or whatever the case is, young 20-year-olds, young adults, and whenever you hear adulthood and all these things, they just seem not as enthusiastic about it. But I think there's a lot of things to look forward to when it comes to being an adult. Obviously, it won't be easy.
Right.
Obviously, there'll be a lot more difficult challenges ahead. But is there anything when you're, let's say, if you become a dad or whatever the case is, that you're kind of excited to be a part of or do or experience?
I think in general, I would say that I'm looking forward to becoming a dad and all my friends becoming dads.
Yeah.
Just a group of dads hanging out with little versions of themselves.
Have you already thought about kid names?
No, I haven't.
Never?
I mean, I don't think so. No, I don't. No, that's not really something I think
Little CJ?
I don't.
Curtis Jr.?
I don't think I would go. I don't think I would go for like the 2 letters name. I don't know. It would have to be, because I would hope it's something with like at least a little bit of like background meaning and not just like, this sounds cool. So I don't know. I'll have to see.
Well, you got a solid last name. I think anything could go well with your last name. It's a solid last name to pair something with. So you shouldn't have two. Like, what's a really just odd last name where it's like, ooh, good luck. Good luck with that. Like Galifianakis. That's a crazy last name. Shout out to Zach. Funny actor. But
I feel like also the last name Brown, like, a lot of them are taken. Like, I can't name a kid Charlie. You know?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Your kid would probably get bullied.
Yeah.
They'd probably want to can't play football.
No, you cannot play football,
especially if he wants to be
Brown.
a kicker.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, you have a son named Charlie Brown that wants to be a kicker.
Yeah.
First game of the season, game in the line. The holder takes the ball away from him.
He comes home from school one day and he's like, "Oh, Dad, can I go over to my friend's house? We're gonna play football." Absolutely not. Absolutely, you are not doing that.
Yeah, no shot. But kids is a great one. I can definitely get behind that as well. Is there anything else?
I think, living on my own, or at least like moving out of my parents' house would be, I think, pretty cool.
Where would you like to live? Have you ever thought about that? Would you like to travel? Get out of Connecticut?
I'm not a big, like, traveling person, I don't think. Though I guess I would want to see, like, other places in the country and in the world. But I don't see myself as the person to, like, make one of those trips, like, on my own. And I don't want to be, like a tourist either. So it would be, like I have an aunt and uncle that live in Montana, and they kind of like live off the grid.
Good for them.
Yeah, it's great. And my parents went up recently, and they said they thought it was amazing. So it would be something like that, where like I know somebody in a environment very unlike.
Yeah.
Where I'm
that
from.
Is nice. Totally different landscape.
Yeah.
Totally different lifestyle. Yeah, that would be nice, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to something today. that had to do with social media, and I believe we've had many conversations at the rec. Shout out to the rec as always. Gotta love that place. But it was talking about the stigma of social media and how it can give a false portrayal. I know you've talked about not being as, and I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure you've told me how, you read more than go on social media. I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Correct me.
That's definitely something that I try to do.
Okay, try. Try is better than not trying.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I succeed every day, but yeah. I mean, I think.
But how do you feel like you've handled social media in a world where social media kind of honestly rules our generation?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think I've handled it pretty poorly.
Yeah.
I think I got into it too early.
Really?
Yeah, cause
when did you get your first app? What was do you remember the first time you downloaded like Instagram?
Probably Instagram and Snapchat, probably both in 7th grade.
That's when it all began.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was just like you said, people present the like perfect versions of themselves, and then you look at that and you're like, well, why can't I be like that? But like they're not like that either. That's just like what they're showing. Mm-hmm. But also like everyone does that. So like my like main Instagram posts are only like the greatest hits of like what I've been doing lately.
Right. That's what everyone does though.
So like I think we just got into it. I think it was new enough when we were young.
Yep.
Where nobody knew how to separate like Instagram from reality.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think that might have had some kind of negative effect on my upbringing.
But why do you think it is that everyone does that?
Because, I mean, why would you want to share anything else?
True.
Like why would I make an Instagram post of just like me sitting in my room playing Fortnite?
Could be relatable.
I guess it could be
relatable.
I guess it could be relatable.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, also, I think you want to. It's not even that like you don't want to post every day.
No, you don't.
I don't think anybody really wants to.
Yeah.
So you want to post like something when you've done something cool or noteworthy or this or that.
Yeah, I got that. Do you think that there will come a point, and you can tell me if you've been affected by this, because I feel like I have, and I think we were talking about this the other day. I said that when it comes to crazy news these days, I just feel so desensitized by it.
Yeah.
And I've been really working to kind of gain, I don't know if sympathy would be the right word, but kind of be more in tune with my emotions rather than just kind of looking at something and going, oh. If that makes sense?
I think you want empathy.
Empathy?
More than, I mean, sympathy's fine, but I mean, empathy, like putting yourself in other people's shoes. Yeah,
that's because empathy is when you
it's where
can feel other people's emotions, right? Sort of, or pain,
try to put yourself in their shoes, basically. Yeah. Try to understand like how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can relate in that sense, or?
Yeah, 100%. I actually, this was something that I was thinking about when you initially asked me to be on the podcast, because you also just mentioned that I read a lot. So I get a lot of book recommendations from my friends who also read.
Yes.
One of my friends lended me a book recently called Confessions of a Sociopath.
Oh.
Right? Which is a very intense title.
Yeah.
But it is an autobiography written under a pseudonym, so a fake name.
Okay.
And it's just this guy being like, just like a bunch of like anecdotes of him being like, I actually don't really care about other people. And it's presented in a way where it's supposed to be like relatable for some people. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be like Because, I mean, part of it is also, like, more people are sociopaths than you think, with, like, the actual definition of what that means. Just, like, not having any empathy towards others. Even if you might not have ill intent, but you don't, like, feel that empathy. Mm-hmm. But I was reading that book, and I was like, this is not me at all. Yeah. Because, like, every other...
So you knew for a fact that you were able to disassociate from this person's mindset. Like, you were like, yeah, we definitely do not compare.
Yeah, because every other line was like, and I just didn't really care about what this person was going through, just like how many of you may think. And I was like, that's not how I think.
Wow.
I think I have too much empathy, which, as I'm saying it out loud, makes me sound like an asshole. But I mean, like, I worry about people, you know, like, all the time.
I do too.
So... yeah.
You know what it might be for me? And you can tell me if you were the same way or are the same way. I don't know. And in friend groups, there's always the different types of friendship styles, I guess. I never honestly said that term before. I bet there is a whole breakdown behind that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But I was always the mediator.
Okay. And
honestly, it came to a point where I was caring about other people and their problems, where I never worried about my problems. Mm-hmm. And that honestly made me so jaded, I actually became depressed in a way. Mm-hmm. And now I've learned to worry about myself, still make time for others, and you know, care for others or whatever the case is. But I learned that sometimes it's never a bad thing to be a little selfish. Or at least just put yourself first.
Oh, yeah,
before
definitely.
Another one's issues.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a hard line to walk for some people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, figuring out where to put yourself first. But actually, as you were saying that, I thought I actually related to that quite a bit, like always being the mediator in your friend group, which I never really thought about, but like...
the middleman.
I think I always have been.
Yeah.
Just because I always find a lot of the things that people are conflicting over, like, very, like, minuscule. Like, why are we arguing about this?
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you both just, like, stopped yelling and talked at a normal volume and talked directly, then we wouldn't have to be arguing right now at all.
I bet arguments are at an all-time high these days. Because I don't know what it is, but it seems like everyone wants to be the best.
Yeah.
Or have the best things. Mm-hmm. Whatever the case is. Be talked about the most. And it might be a thing where everyone has a lot of ego. Their egos might be at an all-time high. And when egos clash, it's never a good thing. So maybe there's going to be a lot more mediators.
I think you actually might be right. Because I'm not sure if I've ever said this to you directly before. But as you know, people listening will not know, so I'll just say I've had a lot of jobs, like, throughout my life. Like, most situations that come up, I have some, like, work-related experience to justify me, like, knowing something about whatever. And in the most prominent, like, retail job I had, I was working at a Tractor Supply. People will go into that store with the intention of arguing. Like, people will go into that store.
Well, they just have time that day.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I guess it was, most of my time there was during COVID. So, like, what else are you going to do?
True.
But also,
Very
true.
True.
Like, why are you choosing that? People are just like...
also true.
Yeah. They would just walk in and be like, I'm going to pick a fight with one of these teenagers today. I'm going to prove to this teenager that I know more about tractors than him. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure in that sense, especially because did you graduate in 2020?
I graduated in 2019.
2019?
Yeah.
Okay, year after me. So that means, did you go to, and you've always gone to CCSU, am I correct? Or did you go to community school? Or?
I did 2 semesters at NVCC.
Good for you. Did you feel that going to college right away was very beneficial for you? Or you took a gap year, right?
No. Tell
me. Correct me.
I wanted to do a gap year after high school.
Okay.
My brother wanted me to do a gap year after high school. Mm-hmm. My brother was like, I know this kid, and I think he needs to just like work a little bit and like be himself for a little bit before he like jumps back into school. Mm-hmm. But my parents weren't really having that, so I did 2 semesters at NVCC. The second semester was spring of 2020, so everything kind of, you know.
Yeah, we know. We know.
It got pretty messed up like halfway through the semester. Mm-hmm. So in a lot of ways, my grades did not recover from the sudden shift of how I was being taught.
Oh, yeah, you're not the only one, my friend.
Yeah, so after that, I was like, I think I need to take a gap year just to, like, wait for this thing to blow over.
During the whole time, was David going to CCSU?
Yeah.
Did he tell you his experience, or, like, did he tell you what was going on at CCSU the day of the shutdown? Like, the day we shut down?
No, sorry. He wasn't, he was going to CCSU during my gap year. He's a year younger than me, so he graduated high school in 2020.
Okay.
So he graduated high school as I was failing my classes at NVCC.
But he was. So he went to CCSU in the fall of 2020?
Yep.
Ah. Yeah, so neither of you know. Have you ever heard anyone's experiences at CCSU and like how things went?
At CCSU, no. I have a friend who was. I have a few friends that were at UConn during that time, and the most prominent thing I remember is they just kind of like were forced to leave their stuff there, and then all their stuff got put in storage. So my friend had, I don't know how much like money he would have spent on it, but it was like a pretty like decent gaming rig. So I mean, definitely over $1,000 worth of like PC gaming equipment. They were like, you have to get out of your dorm right now, and he was like, okay. And then they're like, and you have to go home, and he's like, okay. And they're like, and you can't come back for any of your stuff, and he's like, what? So his entire like gaming setup got put into storage, and he didn't get it for like 6 months.
That's insane.
It was crazy.
That's bad. I've heard some rough ones, but that is pretty rough.
What a terrible time for that to happen too.
Oh my god!
Like,
I mean, he probably had Among Us at least.
None of us played it. We were
no
Among
Us, Curtis. That's a crime.
I never liked Among Us, which is unfortunate. But did you ever play Town of Salem? It's kind of like the precursor to Among Us in a lot of ways, but also it's like the video game version of a card game called Mafia.
Okay.
But I was really into that, so when Among Us came out, I was like, this is just Town of Salem, but with extra steps. I don't want to deal with this.
You really weren't a fan, though?
Nope.
Me and my friends would get on PlayStation, and we would just, all chill in a party. There was nothing else to do. Chill in a party chat. And we would load up the game, and then as soon as it would start, we would all mute our mics. Mm-hmm. And whenever someone was getting chased, we would all vow, like, never unmute your mic. But whenever someone was getting chased, well, you'd just see one of the mics, like, unmute and just start laughing. Like, no. And it was just there was something about reclaiming your inner child.
Oh, yeah.
During the COVID era that was very special to me. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know if you
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Because, one of my friends, one of my very close friends, his name's Tom.
Shout out to Tom.
Big shout out
to Tom if you're listening.
Love that guy. He was living in his dorm during COVID, and they were like very strict on like if you even think you might have gotten exposed to COVID, you have to stay in your dorm for 2 weeks. So that happened to him where he might have gotten exposed to COVID, so he's stuck in his dorm for 2 weeks. He was like losing his mind a little bit. So he would like text me at like 9 a.m. and be like, Curtis, can we please play World of Tanks? And I'm like, yeah, sure, we can play World of Tanks all day. I got nothing going on. So just like World of Tanks and Fall Guys.
Oh, Fall Guys. Yes, absolutely. Fall Guys was great too.
But it's Fall Guys is such like a solid concept though. World of Tanks is so stupid.
Is it?
It's like the dumbest game ever, but I love it.
Yeah. During CCSU though, the day of the shutdown, I was thankfully home. But I'm gonna give it to you my perspective and also what I saw on social media. I'm home, and it is probably, I don't know, 11 o'clock, noon. I get an email from school president, President Toro.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been somebody else, but I'm pretty sure it was Toro. Hello, students. It is with the most whatever filler words you want to put.
Yep.
But pretty much in a nutshell, you need to get the fuck out of here. Like, now.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I just thought to myself, oh my God. I've never seen anything like that. And I don't think I'll ever experience anything like that. You pretty much tell a whole campus, and all the other schools, like UConn, all these schools got told the same thing. Just pretty much, hey, everyone needs to pack their shit, take what you can bring, and you got to get out of here. You got to go. And I checked Snapchat, Curtis. There's people, like, screaming and running to their dorms. Like, holy shit. It probably took people 2 hours just to get off campus if you were already in your car trying to leave. Just think about that.
Well,
CCSU.
Think about that with CCSU. Now think about that with the University of Connecticut, where it's an entire
that must have been
city.
a madhouse. That had to have been a madhouse.
Absurd.
Oh my gosh, that was a crazy time. And I remember in my house, because my mom's a nurse, we were doing the social distancing thing. I was doing everything right. You know, cleaning things a little bit more, being a little bit more attentive to things. And word got around for any hospital workers. It wasn't a matter of if, but when you got COVID. And this is when nobody knew the effects, how serious it was. I was so freaking nervous. And when my mom got it, oh my God, Curtis. I felt like, I don't know what a good example would be, but maybe like a post-apocalyptic game where you're like in the underground bunker and counting down the days.
Right, okay.
Tallying off the walls. Like surviving another day. Yeah, and I was annoyed. So I was chilling personally during COVID. I enjoy me time, as you could see my room. This is like a very safe space and domain for me. So it's very hard to be unhappy in here, at least for me. So when it was told, like, you have to stay home, I was like, oh, for how long? Yeah. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And I was like, I'll show you the way. I felt like Willy Wonka when he was like showing people the chocolate factory. Yeah, I was teaching people how to just kind of dwell in the moment.
There's definitely, there's an art to doing nothing.
There is. And I'm like Picasso, Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be in the Hall of Fame if that was a sport. But what were some of your, aside from gaming, like, did you do anything, like hiking? Like, what did you do to pass time here and there? Or do you feel like you used that time wisely, that big break, chilling at home?
I think so.
Because some people didn't, unfortunately.
So the gyms got shut down.
That they did.
That was very unfortunate for me. Especially at the time. I was in extremely good shape then. So I ordered a treadmill on Amazon. I still have it to this day. It is in use. I don't use it. My sister uses it. But I ordered a treadmill on Amazon. So I would just all day, if I wasn't working, if I wasn't working and I wasn't gaming, which usually happened at night anyways, I was running on the treadmill or walking my dog around our neighborhood, just like constant like cardio. That like, but also not in like an unhealthy, like too much way. Like very, I don't know. I was just very physically fit then.
You keep saying then.
Yeah. Because I don't go to the gym anymore. I'm bad at getting back into things once I've stopped them.
Who isn't?
So
it's humanity's number one problem.
Yeah. So ever since I stopped going to the gym consistently, which I can't even pinpoint an exact time when I stopped caring as much as I used to care.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a while ago. It's been very hard trying to like get into another routine or trying to get back into the same routine or trying to find a new routine. Like, I don't know. It's very tough.
Would you say that you're happy? And happy can be a very, very weird word to some people because you're not always happy. If you have a good day, that's a good thing. But right. I'm meaning, like, are you would you say you're content? Do you feel like, do you always feel shitty about yourself? Do you feel like, you know what, like, I always have good days. I have more good days than bad. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you personally feel when it comes to that? Since you're not as consistent.
I think it's tricky for me to like pinpoint that because, I mean, as you know, I do have diagnosed ADHD. I also have diagnosed depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So I would say more good days than bad, which is good.
Good.
I'm thankful for that.
Still fighting the battle.
So, like on a good day, like overall, yeah, I have a lot of things to be happy about right now. Especially, I feel like I've come a long way from like when I first started developing that stuff. But you know, I mean, there's still bad days or not great days or boring days or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. If I'm thinking positively, I would say more good days than bad, and that's good.
Do you feel that the depression comes from a chemical imbalance, or you don't have to go into detail, but were there certain events that happened to you that kind of just set you back?
Definitely.
Living in the state of Connecticut could really make somebody depressed.
Yeah, definitely. No, I don't think it was like triggered by anything. I think it was, I think a big part of it was I didn't realize that I had ADHD until I was like 20 years old. So like years of like not being able to focus on things and not knowing why I can't focus on things, and like not getting my homework done, but not knowing why I can't get it done. That like I think really weighs on you after a while.
So just frustration.
With
oneself.
And you're like, I have this problem, but I don't know like what I'm doing wrong. Like I'm doing everything everyone says I should be doing. So the problem must be me. Mm-hmm. And then finally I was like, I think I might have an attention thing.
Yeah. It's good that you were at least able to kind of self-diagnose that, or somewhat notice that, and at least want to go get the help for that. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
That's big. Because a lot of people are very, whether it's for their own good, whatever the case is, people are very prideful. They don't want to admit that they have flaws or that they need help, or whatever the case is. I, for one, was someone that suffered in silence in high school. If I didn't know the answer to a math problem, or the teacher would say, "Does everyone understand like this equation or this just whatever they were teaching?" Everyone would be like, "Yeah, got it, totally." I'd be like, "Yep, no idea what she was talking about."
Oh yeah,
zero. And that's kind of how it was for a while. But now I kind of learn. I noticed that if one is insecure and they go about things and show that they're insecure, it's very easy to get picked on. But I notice if like you're comfortable in your own skin and you know you already like you just give off like I know I'm flawed, but I don't care. People will kind of give you a little more. Oh, how do I say this? They'll kind of have like a word mentality. Like cool,
yeah,
like, no biggie. But I feel like it's too easy to pick on the person that's like
you don't want
is shaky when they raise their hand rather than I have no idea what you're talking about, Professor.
Yeah,
yeah.
I never actually thought about that. Those two different types of people, like shaking when you're raising your hand versus the like loud, but I don't know what I'm talking about kind of guy. They are, in some cases, they may be like two sides of the same coin. I forget what I was going to say before.
Well, we were talking about how you were saying that you struggled when it came to paying attention, being able to do homework, and I said that it's good that at least you're able to like self-diagnose and figure out that you needed help and like wanted to figure that problem out.
Yeah.
And then I talked about how there's people that are more loudmouth and they have no problem saying that they have no idea what is being talked about and they don't understand it, and then there's people that are a little more hesitant and more quiet. And you talked about them being on the same side of the coin.
Right. Nobody
like going there with that, but
it's important not to be like like self-pitying, I think.
Yes.
And not like, and especially not being like outwardly self-pitying. Because I think it's sort of like when people post things on like social media that's just like I'm so ugly, I'm so stupid, please send me a kind message. But like they don't say that part out loud. It's just like it's baiting for compliments, right? Nobody really likes somebody that's like baiting for compliments.
Yeah.
You know?
I will say, during COVID, and you clearly seem like you were doing okay.
Yeah.
You seem like you're doing okay for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely was as well. But 2018 and 19 was a very rough 2-year stretch for me, personally. And something clicked during COVID where I kind of found myself again. And I remember while there were so many people I knew that were just kind of anxious and just freaking out, having to be inside all the time, I posted a video on Instagram a while back. And it might have been on like Father's Day, whatever the case was. I was in a good mood. I was calm. And I posted a video talking about, hey guys, like, by the way, like, I was depressed a while ago, but like, I'm chilling now. And like, I hope you're doing well. In a nutshell, It's I just summed it up in like 5 seconds. It was like a minute plus. Just me, like, just kind of talking about what I was thinking about, kind of reflecting, and kind of letting other people know, like, hey, like, if you need help, it's totally okay to get that help or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. And I think that's for me. That's when, personally, for me, I was able to kind of post a little more freely on social media and not worry about amount of likes. I hide my likes now from people. Like, you don't got to worry about that. Mm-hmm. Just know that I'm posting whatever it is I want to post, not for other people, but for me.
Right.
And a lot of things clicked for me, which a lot of people our age are still struggling with. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man.
But I think what you just said also goes back to like what I initially said, where I was like, people our age have a lot more like empathy. Mm-hmm. And the shift that happened recently, where people seem to care more and understand more about mental illnesses, that's like a pretty recent development.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Because even when like our parents were kids, it was just kind of like, you either ignore it, or if you can't ignore it, then you get sent to like the nut house.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And those were basically your only two options. Now, there's different ways to approach every problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting too, because you're also an early 2000s baby, so it's interesting to see how people kind of, in society, how things changed from when we were kids to now. Because we kind of, a little bit of old school rubbed on us as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like we were iPad kids, because there were no iPads when we were kids. It was, I don't know how you were growing up when it came to kids in your neighborhood, or however that dynamic worked for you. Mm-hmm. But I remember having to open up our school phone book when there were 7 digits at a time instead of 10, and having to call a friend's house and saying, hello, Mrs. So-and-so, is this person home? Oh, yeah, 1 second. And they're like, hey, man, like, I'll bike over to your house. Word. Like, that was a special time. Mm-hmm. But, like, we definitely had to go out of our way to do certain things. But then there was also, like, bullying. I mean, bullying's still a thing, but, like, there was a lot more, like, what we were talking about. Like, if you were a little more insecure, like, people would expose you for that. Now people are a little more like, hey, like, you okay? Like, is there anything, like, I could help you with? Rather than being like, stop being a you-know-what, suck it up.
You'd hope. I think people our age, like in college, are a lot more like sensitive about those stuff. There's definitely still bullying like going on in like middle schools and whatever.
Absolutely.
But hopefully that's, the people getting bullied find ways to like help themselves, and the people who are doing the bullying realize that like what they're doing is stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think kids are, at least from what I've seen, because it's always constantly being talked about, doing the right thing. Mental health is at an all-time high. I think kids will be hopefully kinder. It's either they're going to be a lot more kinder, or because of COVID and that being inside for so long and that hindering their social skills. It could be the reverse.
That, I mean,
just thinking out loud here, I'm not.
I feel like if there was a big effect on that, we would have seen it already.
True.
Because enough time has passed where I feel like the kids who were like in elementary school during that, like they've bounced back, I think.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just hope that when we have kids, that so how do I say this? So because we are iPad kids, right? So we grew up in Stride, and now we're seeing this new generation of kids, the ones that are always being exposed to technology, and clearly it's not looking too hot for them. Mm-hmm. At least right now.
Yeah.
I mean, want to make sure everyone's good. But I think because we see that, hopefully our generation kind of mends that and says, you know what, I want our kids to kind of grow up the way we did.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just all balances out.
So I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and I've had a few conversations with them about that specifically, where like the rise of technology in the classroom, it's kind of like a bell curve where like it's gone up and we're at the peak right now, and then hopefully it'll start going back down. Cause like
I heard they're giving kindergartners Chromebooks.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
what is that, Curtis?
It's like, why do...
a Chromebook?
Yeah, why... like
at 4 and 5?
Exactly.
What? Do you know what's on the internet, Curtis?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it's like, no matter how much, like, restrictions you try to put on, like, those devices, like, the kids will find a way around it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But I feel like, hopefully, in time, they'll stop being, like, required in classrooms.
I hope so.
You know? Because I don't think it's the most ideal way to learn, even if it's the easiest way to teach.
True.
And I think it would just ignite the need to be on, like, social media and all that, like, way too soon in, like, a child's brain.
Do you remember what you were doing at 5? Do you remember kindergarten vividly, or early elementary days?
I remember, like, specific moments, but nothing too concrete.
Yeah.
I also think I have a very bad memory. Because even, like, my friend, like, someone will bring up something that happened in, like, high school. They're like, oh, don't you remember, like, when we went to this place and this happened? And I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah.
They're like, but I have a picture of you, like, when we were doing this. And I was like, that's me. I don't remember that, though.
If you were to be talking to your younger self, or you're looking in a mirror and you see him and he sees you, what are some of the, aside from growing up and a beard, what are some major differences between whether it's high school you, middle school you, to you now? And when you were younger, did you ever, like, wonder how I would, like, what would I look like when I'm this old? Like, what would my life be like? What will I be doing?
I don't know. I don't think I was ever able to, like, truly visualize that. I think if I saw me in high school right now, like, that kid is, like, such an asshole. Because that kid is like a party animal.
Really?
Yeah. I was a little, like, crazy in high school because I didn't have a lot of friends in, like, my grade, but I made friends with, like, all the seniors when I was a sophomore. So I would get invited to, like, all the seniors parties and whatnot, and then that would then they graduated, and that translated into getting invited to like all the like college type parties. And everyone in my grade was like, "Why are you getting invited to that stuff?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know, but I'm there."
Right. Aside from that, was there anything in terms of insecurities or whatever the case was that you kind of wear on your, your shoulder a little bit, kind of wear that on your sleeve? You kind of.
I think I would have been better off knowing for sure that, my interest in like TV production and like film production could be translated into a college major and a job. If I had been told that earlier on, I think I would have been a little better off, because I mean, I've always been interested in that stuff. And when I was a kid, I was kind of just like told like, well, like that's a very competitive industry, and
really?
you might as well not even like try. So I didn't for a while. When I went to NVCC, I was a marketing major. Then when I transferred to CCSU, I switched to being a criminology major.
Mm-hmm.
And then only like a couple semesters ago, I switched to media studies with a focus in film and TV production.
You know what's crazy, Curtis? I don't know if I've ever asked you what your major was.
Really?
That's actually your major?
Yeah. I mean, I work at the rec, so it's obviously like media studies. Everybody, for some reason, everybody that works at the rec is a media studies or comm major.
Yeah.
Which isn't what you would expect.
Yeah, right? Really? So do you know, it's okay if you don't, because I still don't know what I want to do, but do you know what you want to do?
No, not specifically.
All right, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetical scenario.
Yep.
Hypothetical world. Right? Just play along with me here, Curtis.
Uh-huh.
Let's say one day I've got multiple cameras. My podcast has an insane following. Would you want to be my... Do you ever listen to Joe Rogan's podcast?
I don't like Joe Rogan.
That's okay. That's fine. That's fair.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry,
people either love him or hate him.
I saw you watching the Elon Musk episode, the new one, and I was like, God damn it. Because I don't like that guy either.
I'm actually... I'll ask you why you don't like him in a sec.
Okay.
Because people either do not like him or they love him.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between, which is interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, let's say hypothetically, I have a good following.
Mm-hmm.
Good following. I got really good equipment, whatever the case was, and I wanted a camera guy to man the ship. Would you? Would that interest you?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that's something that would be interesting to you.
Like
dealing with just film.
So I see what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Like, if I was offered that specific job with anybody, like even somebody that I didn't know, it would be interesting to me. But also, there's some overlap there where I would be interested in any job that I'm doing with somebody that I know. So, like one of my friends has a life goal of like opening like a bar, and he was talking about it last time I spoke to him, and he was like, "Oh, would you want to like handle like the marketing or something like that?" And I was like, "Yeah,
sure,
yeah, I'll do that. That sounds fun."
Yeah,
just hanging out with my friend in a bar.
That's awesome.
So like, yeah, that specific job interests me, but also like anything I can do with people I like is fine by me.
That's a good point. What about what's particularly about film or? So what was it again, for the record? Like, if you could say it, your major?
My major, media studies.
Media studies. Just what about that aspect is so interesting to you?
I think it's interesting to have, and this goes for like film, TV, writing, novels, whatever.
Yep.
It's interesting to have a story that could be about one thing, but have like a theme of something else, or be a metaphor for something else. Just like really well-rounded stories like that I find very interesting.
Really?
Yeah. The only example I can think of right now is a movie that I have not seen.
Which is?
It's called the Jesus Revolution, and my parents saw it, and I don't know if you had the misfortune of seeing the trailer for this when it was going around
I have not.
the theaters, but it was Kelsey Grammer from Frasier, and he's like a pastor in a church in the 60s, and it's all very like wealthy, like white people in the church, and they're all like, oh, we all hate those hippies, because it was like that time.
Yeah.
And then one of the hippies is like, I don't know if his name is Jesus or not, but he looks exactly like Jesus. And he's like, he starts talking to Kelsey Grammer, and he's like, actually, hippies are people too, and maybe you should start allowing us into your church. And then he does, and then all the like very wealthy stuck-up people are like, we shouldn't be having those hippies in our church.
Oh my God.
And so my parents saw that and they liked it, and I was like, well, that's sort of like, I was talking to my dad, and I was like, because even though like that's not really the type of movie I would watch, and it's not really like, I don't really like Christian movies either, but I was like, yeah, I guess that's like an interesting message that could be applied to like the modern day. And my dad was like, no, it takes place in the 60s. And I was like, yeah, but it's like, it has a double meaning of like something going on today. And he's like, well, it takes place in the 60s, so no, it's about hippies. And I was like, but it could be about like how the ruling class treats another minority group now. And he's like, well, it takes place in the 60s.
Yeah. You know, there's many old school films and shows that still hold truth or still relevant that can be applied to this day, which is kind of crazy. I can't think of any at the top of my tongue, but if I went through my movies and shows list, I could definitely name a few.
Well, I was having a conversation with one of my friends recently about a very old writer named Dostoevsky. I'm going to mispronounce it, so I'm not even going to try again.
Yep.
And I also don't know anything about his life at all.
Totally fine.
But I know a couple of his stories, and I'm not sure if I'm particularly a fan, but I definitely would say that I respect his stories like a ridiculous amount, because they were written in like, I don't know if it was like the 1800s or the 1900s, but like old, very old stuff.
Yeah.
But all of his things are so timeless that they could kind of just like be applied. They could take place today, and you would have to change very little. You know. But I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, why don't I like his books? And I was like, oh right, because they're all about like incels. So it's like you could take his stuff and apply it to the modern day, but it would just be like the movie Joker.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's still interesting how something can be like so timeless.
It is. And there's a lot of books. There's a lot of books too, especially out there that kind of share the same thing when it comes to just holding truth to this day. And it's kind of a cop-out. It's easy to say, like, so I'm reading this book, Atomic Habits.
Mm-hmm.
All people create habits, toxic and healthy ones.
Yeah.
The book can be applied in any generation to everyone. The book will still hold true in 3010, you know?
Yep.
Which is, I like books like that a lot. It's books like that I think can truly help a person in this world. So that's always interesting. But I want to circle back. What about Mr. Rogan kind of irks you? Because it is interesting. Because break this down for me.
I think
it's totally fine. You can bash him.
I think there's a couple. I wouldn't even like want to bash him. I think there's just a lot of like little factors that add up to like an overall picture of me just like not being a huge fan of his. He has like an absurdly large following.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Like an unfathomable amount
Number
of people.
one podcaster in the world. Number one.
And he just kind of like, in a lot of cases, he just kind of like talks out of his ass. He's not an expert in all the things that he's talking about, but his fans will treat him like he is an expert in that stuff. And he's just not as smart as people perceive him as. He's a very good interviewer, and he has some really great interviews, and he has some really great excerpts from those interviews. But like, I feel like the great majority of his episodes, and I guess I could be wrong. This is me assuming things because I don't listen to the great majority of his episodes. But I feel like they could mostly just be like him, like rambling with somebody else who's rambling. Also, I mean, and also me personally, I don't love some of the people that he's giving a platform to. Like, I mean, Jordan Peterson sucks. Like, Ben Shapiro sucks. Elon Musk kind of sucks in a lot of ways. I like his Bill Burr episode. I like Bill Burr a lot.
Yeah. No, Bill Burr's great. Mm-hmm. I think you made some fair points. I think you're right where a lot of people will take his word for whatever it is that he says because they're very blinded by the fandom. Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. I know during this whole COVID era, he was always having doctors on or certain people, and then he would say certain things that people would kind of just take as, oh, well, I guess this is truth, rather than... That is fair. But I think the reason why I like him more than anything is I'm someone that kind of takes pride in where I don't know all the skills that I have or possess, at least maybe not yet. I just know the one good thing that is fun to be a part of and that is fun to at least work on is conversation. I think conversation is a very important thing that someone can be good at, especially in this society, where if you can get anybody to talk, it could just be so much easier to make connections. And he's someone that I kind of admire in the sense where some people can have a conversation and then it goes dead. And you kind of just don't know where to go from there. And he could kind of word associate in wordplay where, let's say you say one thing and then he'll say, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of this. And then there'll be a whole nother 30 minutes.
Right.
Just from a pivot.
Yeah.
And there's certain little things like that I've always respected. And there was something about that I found that so cool where he could get anybody to open up. And, yeah, and I agree.
No, yeah,
I mean, there's certain people out there.
Very good. He's very good at like what he does.
Yeah, and there's certain people out there in the world, totally fine, that not everyone likes, and that's fine. But man, to hear him have certain people on like Mike Tyson and kind of get Mike Tyson, who wasn't the best speaker, so kind of open up and talk about fighting a little bit more, like his thought process behind fights, or freaking Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan talking about their WWE careers. That was so interesting to me. Again, I'm talking for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
That to me is so cool. I don't know. To get someone to truly open up and go more in depth rather than giving such an easy PR answer.
Yeah, definitely.
Just in that aspect.
That is something that we're missing a lot today, is just like real, unedited, altered, just like takes from like people. Because have you ever seen like Lord of the Rings?
No, but it's on my list, Curtis, and I know it's a shame. I know.
So, but those movies specifically, they perfectly represent the time where you could buy a DVD of a movie and it would come with bonus features.
That's right.
And the bonus features would be even longer than the movie itself. And the bonus features for Lord of the Rings, the like documentaries of like how they made those movies, is so interesting.
Seriously?
It's absurdly interesting. Same thing to a different degree, but I would say same thing with the Star Wars prequels.
Yes.
Because those also are very well documented with how they're made. Because people were always like recording the like meetings and stuff. So there's just like videos of like George Lucas like wandering into a room and being like, "Oh, I think we're gonna make Yoda with a computer this time, and we can throw away the puppet now because we're gonna make him on a computer now."
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, "What?" And then he like walks away, and it's such an imperfect moment of like the head honcho, the director of this movie and the creator of the franchise, but they would just put it out there, you know, and like compare that to like all the like big budget blockbusters now, like all the Marvel movies. There's no like behind the scenes stuff that you can find. No real behind the scenes stuff. It's all just like they'll put like Paul Rudd and like Michael Douglas on a couch together, and they'll be like, yeah, me and Paul Rudd are actually very best friends in a whole wide world. And then nobody will like ever see them in public ever again. And it's all just stuff like that. And I'm like, that's so
thought
fake.
About that. I never even thought about that. What if you just buy a DVD right off the shelf from a Blockbuster or whatever, and they'll see all the bonus tape and the bloopers and all that stuff and the behind the scenes? I totally forgot about that. We are lacking that these days.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Yeah, genuine realness. Realness. We are lacking a lot of realness these days. And that's something I kind of want to bring back.
Yeah.
I was very, very shy growing up. And you wouldn't think that at all. Very shy. And, you know, when I have kids, I just want them to kind of grow up and truly believe that as long as you're your genuine self, everything will work itself out.
Right.
And it'll be very easy to make friends and build connections and to gain respect, because you can look yourself in the mirror and just say, you know, like, this is who I am. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
Right.
So, that's a good point, Curtis. Most definitely. So, I know we talked about your major a little bit, but in an ideal world, have you ever thought, like, if I could have this job, I would be the happiest man on the planet? Or if I could be doing this? Or is it more of, like you said earlier, like, if I'm just doing something that I can tolerate with, like, people that are cool?
So, realistically, it's the second thing of like, I'll kind of just do whatever and find something that makes me happy and makes me money, and it's like it'll work itself out. I think in a perfect world, I would love to be like a writer director for like films or something.
Hey, you need an actor, Curtis. You let me know.
Yeah.
You let me know.
But I don't think I'm that good at writing.
Not yet. Yes, like, I love that.
Yeah, I that's something that I do want to work on.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I kind of thought of it after the fact, but like, good thing I started to like read pretty consistently, because I'm reading, you know, works of other people who I appreciate, and I'm learning like their techniques and styles and whatever. So I think, like, realistically, when I get out of school, find a job that relates to my major and try to like write some stuff on my free time.
Hell yeah.
Whether it be like,
I love that,
a screenplay or a book or something. Who knows?
Dude, I'm just saying, hear me out, Curtis. Hear me out. I took acting 1 and 2. You know I'm a cinema buff. I'm telling you, we could be the next Scorsese, De Niro. I'm just saying.
We could be.
I'm just saying. No, like, I'm serious. If you let me know, and those movies, not to discredit you or anything, because obviously you got to start somewhere. Unless you just somehow make a masterpiece out the gate, and you just become one of the greatest of all time. Which is, hey, anything's possible. But I'm just saying, you want to make a freaking James Franco, Seth Rogen kind of movie. Or whatever genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you let me know, man. Because I love that kind of stuff. I always said I would never want to do plays, but if someone just said, I have a part for you, here you go. I'm in.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. Dude, that's so cool. You don't hear that much these days, where people want to aspire to create.
Yeah.
Creating's fun.
It is, and I think it has value.
You seem like you'd make a great director. I think
Well,
you do.
thank
You kind of have that aesthetic to you. I think you got it in you. In due time. I love how you said yet. That's a big thing. Power of the tongue, man. Speaking words into existence, not taking yourself out of the race before even starting. Because someone could say, you know, I'm not a good writer. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what do you mean? Have you ever started writing? No. Well, not a good writer yet. But yeah, man, that's awesome. Wow, man. I could totally see it. I really could. I don't know anybody else. I think I might know 1 or 2 people that are kind of the same boat as you in terms of those aspirations. But wow, And when do you graduate again?
Most likely the spring of 2025.
Oh, yeah. You got time.
Yeah, I got some time.
You've got some time on your side, my friend. That'd be cool. Before I get you out of here, and I appreciate your time, was there anything else that you wanted to dive into? Because I got plenty of time. I just want to make sure, because not everyone has a chance to be on a podcast.
That's true.
No matter how big or small. And I want to make sure that, you get your flowers and your recognition, and people kind of give you the time of day and hear what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to do this again. And given the fact that you're into film and all these things, I need to do you justice. We got to run this back. We will.
When I have like a solid idea and like start working on it, I will let you know, and then I can come on here and talk about it.
Dude, that sounds like such a great plan. I love that.
When I start making YouTube videos again, you will be the first to
again know. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I posted that. I posted something on my like private Snapchat story, which I might have not added you to yet. But okay. It was a year ago yesterday. And it was the YouTube analytics of it's like it just hit 3,000 subscribers. Oh and I posted that just because I think it's funny. And my friend, like usually when I post stuff like that, like nobody really like cares. They're just like whatever. My friend like taps me on the shoulder in class, and she's like, "What the fuck is this? Like, do you have a YouTube channel?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I kind of have like a small following." I'm like, 3,000 subscribers, and I'm like, well, it's at like 3.7K now. But I haven't posted anything in like 8 months.
Yeah,
I'll get back to it.
Dude, that's awesome. I know you will. Yeah, I know you definitely will for sure. I'm looking forward to it. Before I get you out of here, I told you I was going to ask you 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're finally ready to answer them?
Yes, I forget the questions.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I'm gonna tell you what they are once again. Let's start with a favorite movie or TV show, or both, if you know your stuff, or ones that you would recommend to the people.
I would definitely recommend the TV show Succession on HBO, because I feel like not as many people watched it as they could have.
I heard it's a classic.
It's so good.
I heard it ended very well too.
It ended perfectly, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended so well that I watched the series finale with a friend who had never seen a single episode before.
Oh.
And he enjoyed himself, I think.
Just by watching the finale?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. Damn, that is pretty impressive.
But then, I mean, he kind of ruined it, because he sent me a text a couple weeks later where he's like, "Curtis, I finally started watching Suits." And I was like, "I've never seen Suits." And he's like, "No, we watched the like series finale of Suits," and I was like, "That was Succession." And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to watch that."
Suits is on my list too. As funny as you say that. Just out of curiosity, do you have a favorite movie or one that really hit home?
I would say that my favorite movie, it's probably more of like a guilty pleasure, even though it is good. Baby Driver, which we have talked about before.
Yeah, Baby Driver is so good.
I love everything about it, even the parts about it that are like objectively like not great, like how that girl just like falls in love with him like almost immediately. It's like you could critique that if you want, but I love that. I think it's great.
Dude, that's hilarious. That Baby Driver was a good movie. I did not expect it to be that good.
Mm-hmm. Nobody does.
People can say what they want about Kevin Spacey. We're not going to get into him, but as an actor, pretty damn good.
Yeah,
pretty damn good.
Yeah, that movie was very perfectly casted.
God damn it, baby. Yeah, good movie, man. Favorite artist or album that you can think of if you're into music at all, or one that you respect, or a band, whatever the case is. I don't know if I know your genre.
So I would have 2 answers for that.
Okay.
I would say my favorite band is probably Beartooth.
Beartooth,
which is a heavy metal band.
You're a heavy metal guy?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like half and half, because I like heavy metal a lot, but I don't like listening to it a lot. Like especially when I'm like driving, because I don't want to like be driving to campus, listening to Beartooth, just getting like progressively angrier.
Oh my gosh.
And I have found out the hard way that is what happens. I just get progressively angrier.
That happens to everyone.
So my other answer would be the Backseat Lovers. Very calm music, very chill music. It's like a type of music you would play at like a bonfire.
Here we go.
You know? But Beartooth, man. I've seen them in concert, I think like 3 times. It's always so fun. It's so fun.
Are you a headbanger at concerts, or do you just sit there with like, do you just stand there with a beer and just go, hell yeah?
I start off just like standing in the corner, and then, you know, like the energy builds throughout the night. And then by the end of it,
you're doing that 2-step.
I'll be crowd surfing. I'll be helping other people crowd surf. It's fun.
Dude, that's hilarious. I used to work at a concert theater where we dealt with a lot of metal bands. Oh my God, those got rough.
It's funny you said that because I have a couple friends that went to see Death Grips in August. And they were like standing outside, and the security guard was like, he walked up to him and he's like, "Is there going to be a lot of crowd surfing this show?" And they're like, I don't know, maybe, probably not though. And he's like, "Good. Beartooth was here last month. That fucking sucked." And I was at that show.
Dude, catching crowd surfers was such a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
Especially, oh my God, and it was so funny because if there was a really big person, we would just like stand up on the guardrail and be like, no, put their ass back down because we have to catch them.
Yeah.
And we were not catching anybody well over like 200 pounds.
Right.
That was just not happening. Not with our backs. But metal shows got intense. I will say, there are some metal songs I like, especially like the punk rock era of the early 2000s, like Green Day or anybody else that I can't really think of. But I know that when it came to, did you ever play Black Ops Zombies growing up?
Yeah.
Did you ever do the Easter egg for Kino der Toten? And do the meteorites, collect them, and then it would play that metal song?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God, Curtis, it is such a good song. On the classic map for Black Ops. Do you know what I'm talking about? Kino der Toten?
I think if I saw a picture of it, is it the one where there's like, you start at the lobby of a building and there's like 2 staircases?
Yes, yep,
okay.
that's the building, yes. There's little meteorite pieces all throughout the map. And if you just go up to them, all your friends would definitely know what I'm talking about. And you hold square. There's no option to hold, like where it says press square. But if you just hold square, you hear a noise, and then your character will just say something. You collect all of them. It'll just start playing this insane, amazing, heavy metal song. And me and my brother, whenever we'd play co-op, we'd wait till like round 40 or whatever it is, where we just needed that boost of energy.
Yeah.
And when you hear that guitar riff kick off, Curtis, it's like, oh yeah, I got the ray gun, I got all the Pack-a-Punch stuff. It was over.
That's funny you say that because I do a little bit of Counter-Strike playing now, which is like a lovely game for college students to play if you hate your mental health because it's infuriating.
Yeah,
but you can get music kits in that game, so there's like a select few bands. Or like sometimes they're like YouTubers that will make like music that'll play like when the round starts, when the round ends, if like the bomb is about to go off in the round or whatever. And Beartooth has 2 of those. Beartooth has 2 different music kits you can buy.
That's actually crazy.
And it also plays when you win the round, but it's like if you're the MVP of the round, having like me doing good in a round and then having Beartooth play for the entire lobby is such a good feeling.
Freaking Beartooth, man.
Yeah.
How did you even come across Beartooth? This band.
I have to trace that back in my mind because I was not a fan of metal until my senior year of high school because I was hanging out with my friend and he was like, "I'm going to a concert in a couple weeks. It's this band called We Came as Romans. You should come because those concerts are fun." And I knew We Came as Romans from one song because they were featured on a Pop Goes Punk album. So they did a cover of the song Glad You Came.
Okay.
And I like had listened to that like because my brother listened to that when I was like younger. So I like recognized them and I was like, yeah, okay, I guess. So we went to this We Came as Romans concert. Then they had a headliner or not a headliner. They had a band that played before them called Crown the Empire, who we were really impressed by. So then we went to go see Crown the Empire in concert. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just a line of like, you go to see one band and then you get introduced to another, and it just like keeps happening.
And just for the record, one more time, so Beartooth I got ingrained. I'm going to have to give Beartooth a listen. And I'm like, Curtis, I kind of like this one song. But what was the name of the other band? Just so I can, because I want to give them both a listen. I'm very open with
the Backseat Lovers.
Backseat Lovers. Word. I'll probably give them both just a little listen when I get you out of here. But last but not least, some words of oh my gosh, I can't speak today, Curtis. Words of advice or words of wisdom, whether it's just for us in this moment, to take this moment in a nice, beautiful way, or just for anyone listening at home, whether it's to your future self, just kind of speaking something into existence, whatever the case is. The floor is yours, my friend.
I would say just be kind. Be kind to others and be kind to yourself, because you might as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Sometimes I'm good at articulating.
Nah, that's
myself.
very, dude. That's
Sometimes
very
I'm
well
not.
said. Sometimes that's all you need. That's all one needs to hear these days. Be kind and be kind to one another, especially oneself. I like that. That's solid. Curtis, this was great. I always love chatting with you. We always chat the rec. We always chat at Central. So it was nice to finally get you on here. But we will do this again.
Sure.
As long as you're willing to come on again.
Yeah, of course.
And I promise I'll do you right. Hopefully I'll have a camera by then. That is what we need to work on. And believe me, I am trying. But it will happen at some point in the future. And hopefully it'll be a better setup. I don't know. Or maybe the same, just a camera. Who knows? But Curtis, I appreciate your time. This was great. But with that said, everyone has a story and it's still being written. I appreciate every single one of you. Keep pushing. Keep going in life. I love you all. Ciao for now.